back. We are back for another episode of the Traits of a Champion podcast. Feels good to be back.
Feels good. I don't know what number we're on, but let's keep going. I love it. Thank you for all your positive comments. We're getting a lot of great feedback, and that's always fun. We love feedback.
Yes, we do. Always love the feedback and love doing this, man. It's been really fun just to do this with you. And then also hearing, again, like you said, the feedback and just talking about things that we really love talking about. And I've heard from people obviously in Louisiana, in Texas. I heard from a lady in Missouri the other day that was listening to us every week. So super encouraging and excited and love diving into these topics.
It's fun stuff. Well, so we're Traits of a Champion podcast. We're talking and challenging, hopefully encouraging, Kevin.
Yeah.
Motivating. We want to maybe even coach you a little bit. And, a good coach will get on you every once in a while and not just tell you how great you are, but tell you how you need to get better. So maybe some of you are looking, going, you know what, this is where I need to get better. But it's a podcast to just help you win and to move beyond just a participation trophy. I talked to somebody recently that was listening, and I finally they were telling me and they were asking me and things, and I finally said, how do you most relate this podcast to you? And he said, really and truly, in my marriage. And I thought, man, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I love that because we can be champions in our marriage. We can be champions in our work and with our kids. And that's the purpose of this, is just saying, you know what? You can win. You can be a champion at whatever it is that you desire to be a champion in, with these principles, and that hopefully this challenges you to do that. Ultimately, I think these principles will help you be a champion at whatever you want to do. Certainly, if you have a walk with the Lord and applying them with the Lord. We know a lot of guys in ministry. Kevin and I have been doing this a long time, and so we know a lot of people, and it's amazing how you have a lot of guys in ministry. A lot of them succeed, a lot of them just don't. They just kind of get the participation trophy, and that's not I'm not trying to be harder to be judged, anything. I'm just saying, man, I know some guys that have unbelievable talent, unbelievable amount of ability, but they're just really average in ministry, our job, because they're not seeking. They don't even have a mindset to say, I want to be a champion.
Mm-hmm. And I said this, and I think in episode 1, these things that we're talking about in this podcast, is things that you've based your leadership in your life on. These aren't just things that you came up with on a whim, and so I think about it even in context like you're talking about in ministry. I mean, you came here to this church at Cypress Baptist. 18, 19?
Headed 17 and a half, headed towards 18
years ago, and a church of about 350 people, and now our church runs every week 2,500 people, and then of course our membership is just thousands of people, and come through the doors of this place on a weekly basis. And I say all that to say, we don't say that in any way. You definitely have never said this. I'll say it because I feel like I can. It's not in a braggadocious way. It's all glory to God for what He's done. But I say all that to say, you've always taken this focus, this attitude, this hard work, this influence, and this last one that we're going to talk about, of having an element of your leadership and your life, of not just looking about what's ahead of you 1 year or 2 years, but looking at 20 years into this thing for your life and leadership, and how God has blessed this not quitting on what He's placed on your heart. And again, we can talk about these things in all areas of life, but I've got to see that. I've known you a long time now, 18 years, and I've gotten to see that play out in your life, and have also modeled that in my own life, and it has helped me win in different areas of my life. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this episode, is this idea and this trait of not quitting. True champions don't quit. God's given them something, or if you're not a Christian, you have a vision to do something with your life, and you have to have an element of that not quitting. Don't quit. Champions never quit.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying that says that winners never cheat and cheaters never win. While I love that, and I wish it were true, I really do, it's just not. I mean, there are tons of examples out there. But what I say is that winners never quit and quitters never win. Now that you can hang your hat on. If you look at champions across the board in business, they're going to take losses. They're going to get knocked down. You look at athletes. Nobody's ever 100% undefeated in athletics. It just doesn't happen. You're going to take your losses. You can talk about, the arts. People who are champion in the arts. You're going to have bad moments. You're going to have losses. You can talk about in your marriage. You're going to have losses. And champions, the goal is not to not have losses. You're going to have them. And you try not to have them. But it's understanding that, you know what, every champion takes losses. Every champion gets knocked down. What makes a champion is that they don't stay down, is that they don't take the loss and then quit. They say, you know what, a loss is an opportunity to learn and to get better.
Yeah, it's what you do with those losses that make you a champion.
That's
and,
right.
And that's what I love is that we have this attitude and this determination to not quit. That's what a champion does. And that's, again, that goes in every area of your life, to not quit at all costs. We don't quit. We're going to take losses at times, but it's what you do with those losses that help you become a champion. And so let's dive into this idea of not quitting and talking about not quitting and having an attitude and a determination to not quit in whatever we do.
Well, champions, again, you're going to lose, you're going to take losses, you're going to fall down, you're going to fail. That's in everything in life. A champion says, I am not going to, that in no way means that I'm stopping at what I'm doing. I've got the focus, I've got the attitude, I'm working hard, I'm using the influence that this opportunity gives me. And then wrapped around all of that is knowing I'm going to have wins and losses, but I'm not going to let the losses deter me. I'm not going to let them stop me. Kevin, I met a man years ago. This was a long time ago, and by long time in perspective, probably heading towards 30 years ago. And he was a homeless man. We were doing some ministry in Oklahoma City, where I used to live and work, and there was a homeless shelter there, and we would go down and we would feed them, and then we would do a service, and we would just hang out. And there was a guy that just kind of stood out. After I'd been down there a couple of times, he just kind of stood out to me. And by stood out, I could just tell in talking with him something was different. So we had the opportunity one night. I just went one evening, and instead of serving, I asked my guys if I could just kind of mingle. I was going to be preaching that night. So I just went and sat down and had dinner with him. And come to find out, he literally had a bachelor's degree in mathematics. I never will forget that because we joked about how bad I am at math. He had a couple of postgraduate degrees in business, finance, and math. I mean, and when I'm talking it was unbelievable the amount of degrees that he had. He talked about some of the money that he'd made and da-da-da-da. And so I finally just looked at him and I said, sir, can I ask you, his name was Dale. I actually remember his name. His name was Dale. I said, Dale, why are you living on the streets? And I never will forget, Kevin, him looking at me and saying, I don't know. I think I just got tired of losing. And I got tired of the losses. Everything I was doing, I was losing at. I was taking the losses, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, I guess I just checked out of life because it's a whole lot easier not to worry about winning and losing. I just checked out like in there. And I tell you that story because I think a lot of people are afraid of the losses. Therefore, what they do is they pull back and they say, I'm not even going to compete. I'm not even going to go for the championship. I'm so paralyzed by my fear of losing that I'm not even going to compete. And I want to just say to you, if you're going to be a champion, I want you to understand that while you don't seek losses, you don't pursue losses, I'm just telling you, you've got to accept the fact that you're going to have losses in everything you do. Man, let's talk marriage. You ever lose at marriage? Yeah. It happens. It happens all the time. I won't get my wife on here and give testimony, but It happens way too much. Do you ever take losses in raising your kids? Yeah, man, I hope I was a good dad, but I know I wasn't a perfect dad. I took losses in ministry, in business, in all kinds of things. The bottom line is that we have to accept the fact we're going to take losses. Now, we don't accept it so that we're going to let it define us. And that's no. A loss is an opportunity, but it also reveals that we're trying.
Yeah, I think that's so key, because I think there's an element that you could be listening to this, and man, you ever heard that statement? It comes in threes. Like, life comes in threes. All the bad things, the losses, if you will, they come in threes. You ever heard something like that? Well, I think sometimes people can get stuck in a rut and being defined by their losses. And they get, God forbid, like the homeless man that you met, Dale, who was literally let his life be defined by his losses. But I think there's an element where if you're not careful, you can get defined by your losses if you don't look at them as an opportunity to move on and look at how you can win next time. And so I think I was thinking about this earlier, and I was actually had a conversation with a young man this last week about some similar things he was just losing in, and that when you're defined by losses, I think there's some characteristics that you need to that I would use as like red flags in your life that tell you that you're being defined by your losses. I think people that are being defined by their losses, they can become very passive people, if that makes sense. They get very passive. They can some way get arrogant in their losses. They don't need help. They just get stuck in it. So they're just like, I get in their own way. A lot of people sometimes get angry in their losses. You've ever heard somebody or met someone who's losing one thing after another, and they blame everybody, and they get just angry at life. And sometimes I think when people take a lot of losses, they can get lazy. As they say, you know what, I've been losing, I've lost a lot. It's just easier for me just to take a step back and not keep going, to take a sabbatical, to quit, if you will, on life right now, or on marriage, or on my business, and just take a rest and just get lazy. And they use these losses as excuses to just step back. And what we're saying is that's not what a champion does. Is we don't quit. We do keep moving forward, right?
Yeah. I had a young man that was, we'll just make this a lot of story time, a kid named Cody, fabulous athlete, really good athlete. But he tried to transition into wrestling. He had never wrestled, and in Oklahoma, wrestling's a big deal. And he wanted to go out for his high school wrestling team, and I just told him, I said, look, you're a great athlete, but you hadn't done it. Most of these guys have been wrestling a long time. You're going to take your lumps. And man, he did. He took his lumps. But then he came to me, and I said, what's your goal, Cody? What is it you want to do? How is it that you want this to fan? He said, man, I want to start. And I said, okay, so you want to be the guy at your weight? And he said, yeah. And so I said, all right, here's what it's going to take to do that. And he did it. I'm telling you, for the next year and a half, he was a sophomore. By the time end of his junior year, he was starting. And he went into his senior year, and the first, I don't know how many matches, he was getting stomped. And my first thought was, remember, you wanted to be a starter and understand how high level that is. But what I did was I talked to him about it, and he looked at me and he said, man, I'm just tired of losing. And I said, okay, all right, first of all, you remember when you weren't even on the mat? He goes, yeah. I said, you remember you weren't even dressed out. You were one of the guys standing behind those dressed out, and you were getting water, and you were the mat guy, throwing a towel for time and all kinds of stuff. That's who you were. Is that what you want to go back to? And he said, no. I said, okay. But you don't want the losses either. And he said, yeah. I said, you have to take what it took to get on the mat. Now take that same effort, principle, mindset, and now move it into stop the losses. And the kid did. I'm not kidding. He turned around. He didn't end up making he almost made the state tournament and things, but I never forget just the effort. And I say that, Kevin, to say a lot of people will say, you know what? It's a whole lot safer on the bench than it is being on the field. It's a whole lot easier just to get a participation trophy because at least then I'm not losing. And I would just challenge you to say, if you're going to be a champion, the risk of pursuing a championship is you're going to take some losses. But once you take those losses, don't settle in them and don't become comfortable with it. Move in a whole different direction. Take your focus, your attitude, your hard work, and your influence to say, okay, I'm going to move on from losing. And I'm going to be as proactive about stopping the losses as I did about getting onto the field. Does that make sense?
Makes great sense. And let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what happens to the person that is in maybe a rut of taking some losses, and they're like, man, I'm on the verge of quitting whatever it is. I'm on the verge of quitting in my marriage. Like, my marriage is hanging on by a thread. My business is hanging on by a thread, or I'm just taking some L's. Or so you have that person, but then you also have the person that may be listening to this that just has maybe just recently taken a loss, and they're listening to this. What do they do so that they can keep moving forward and not quit? Because that's what we're ultimately talking about. We're talking a lot about losses, but man, we all take losses. That's the point of why we're talking about this, is to make everybody human on here. We're not experts, and if y'all know an expert, let us know, please, because we want to know who they are, because there are no experts. Everybody takes losses. Every true champion takes losses, is what we're saying. But what a true champion does is they don't quit in the midst of their losses. They don't quit when they do lose. So when you take a loss, what do we do? How do we move forward and not quit?
Well, I think that's the key is you understand, and that's what we're trying to drive home. Anybody who's trying to win, who's trying to be a champion, you're going to take losses. If you're not taking losses, if you're not losing, you're not trying.
Are you really playing the game is the point.
You're not trying. And I mean that, I'm not trying to be harsh out there, but for some of you out there, you're so paralyzed by your fear of a loss, and we're trying to say, get over that. You're going to have losses, but once you have those losses, don't settle in them.
Don't live in it.
Don't live in it. Yeah. So anybody who ever plays athletics, and quite frankly, you can do it in business, you can do it in every area of your life, you've got to evaluate. In athletics, we used to call it, we got to watch the game film. So I've talked to some businessmen about their business and some difficulties they had, and literally in one case where they had lost so much money. And I just made the comment to them. I said, well, have y'all watched the game film? And they looked at me and went, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, have you sat down and evaluated and looked at, first of all, why did you lose? You have to evaluate and say, okay, after I lose, I'm going to watch the game film and say, okay, whenever I played on Friday nights, we showed up on Saturday morning, put the game film on, watched every play. Here's where we won. Here's where we lost. But what we did was we tried to figure out, why did I lose? What caused me to lose in that moment, whether it be a play or whether it be a series, or if you lost the game, what caused us to lose? A champion says, I'm going to lose, but I'm going to use it as an opportunity to learn and evaluate and figure out something. And it starts with, why did I lose? Then once you discover why you lose and why you lost, then you go, okay, here was the reason for the loss. Then you transition to something else. Then you transition to say, okay, here's how I'm going to get better. Here's why I lost. Move on. Here's how I can get better. And I'm going to use that because it revealed something about me. It revealed a defect. It revealed a weakness. It revealed maybe something I'm not good at. And so that's why I lost. Okay, so what can I do to get better? I was taking a loss several years ago, many years ago, and as I watched the game film, what I realized is that no matter what I did, I was going to lose at that in my organization because I didn't have the skill set. So I thought one of two things. I've either got to get better at what I'm doing, or I've got to get the organization better. And what I decided to do, because I felt like I could enhance the organization, I went and found somebody who was really good at that and brought them into the organization, and they made us better so that we didn't have to take losses in that anymore. So you've got to determine, why did you lose? You've got to then come up with a game plan of how you can get better in your marriage. You know what? If you're taking losses, my wife, or my husband, this, that, okay, why did you lose? And then what are you going to do to get better? And then once you do those two things, then it's very critical for champions. You've got to move on. You've got to move on. You've heard the old saying, when you're driving a car, your front windshield's a whole lot bigger than that rearview mirror. Do not drive looking in the rearview mirror. You have it there so that you can understand why and where you came from, how you can get better, but you got to move on and look out that windshield. And champions have a great ability to assess and to evaluate, why did I lose? And then game plan of how I can get better, but then they move on. They don't stay a loss. Someone who stays in losses, this is going to be harsh and going to cost us some people, but hey, I want to say it to you. People who stay in losses become losers. And nobody wants to be a loser.
No.
It's just
and
a fact.
Man, that is, I hate to just beat a dead horse here, but it's so true, man. Like, these three things that you're talking about doing can set so many people free. Date night sometimes for you and your spouse needs to be, hey, why did we lose here? You know, why did we lose here? How can we get better? But the key is to move on. Like, so many people are, well, do you remember what you did last year? Do you remember what you did yesterday? And it's like, no. Evaluate it, watch the game film, do what you're talking about, and then move on. And then get better together. So that it can. My point is that there's so many people that could quit losing in their marriage, quit losing in their business if they do these things and move on. I think that's key, because you got to evaluate it. It's not this move on, this passive move on of like, I'm forgetting about it, I'm not learning from it. No, you're saying watch the game film.
Yeah, don't bury your head in the sand.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
But then move on and keep moving forward is the point.
Yeah.
And I think that's so good for people when it comes to really winning. And that attitude and this not quitting will lead to a sense of confidence.
It will. Well, and that's when you're saying, when you watch the game film and you honestly evaluate and say, okay, why did I lose? Number two, how can I get better? What you're ultimately saying is, I'm taking responsibility for the loss. And champions do that. Non-champions will look to blame other people for the loss, blame other people. Well, I don't have to get better. It wasn't my fault. Well, you better look in the mirror and understand that you had if you have some ownership in the loss. I can't control. If Kevin, you and I are doing something together and we lose, I can blame you till the cows come home. But the problem is, it doesn't do us any good, and it doesn't do me any good. I've got to be honest and own what I did and watch the game film and say, yeah, here's why we lost. Here's my part in that. And not only that, but here's how I can get better. Yes, hopefully I can encourage and motivate and things. And I see so many married couples where they're so busy coming in. I do a little bit of counseling. I don't do near as much as I used to, but when you have marital counseling and the wife comes in and it's he does this and he does this and he does this and he's got to fix this, and then I look at him and say, all right, well how's your point of view? Well, she's this and she's that and she's and then it's like, man, at some point you guys are going to have to look and say, I did this. I did this.
That's right.
Because it's when you do that you're really watching the game film and you're figuring out how you can get better at what you're doing. Champions have an unbelievable ability to determine why they lost, then figure out how to get better, and then move on. Say, you know what? I'm not staying in that. I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to become a loser. I'm going to move on to the next thing. And like you said, that builds tremendous confidence in your life. Because champions ultimately have in their attitude a can-do. It's a confidence that says, I'm not going to be cocky, but I am going to be confident.
What is the difference between cockiness and confidence? What is the difference? I love watching College Game Day on Saturdays, as you do, and as a lot of the nation does. And my favorite I really actually am starting to really like the Indiana coach, Kurt Cignetti. How could you not like this guy? I mean, I really do like the guy. I mean, I'm trying to follow him more, get to know him. And I don't know if you saw the pregame interview, but she said, well, Coach, of course he corrected her on the fact that they had not played at Penn State before. It was kind of funny and humorous. But then she said, so what's the concern going into this game? And he goes, there's no time for concern. It's time to play. Yeah. And I loved the confidence. Like and they did. And man, it was a phenomenal football game, right? Won in the last few seconds. Great game and to watch. But my point is I do love the confidence coming from that coach, because it bleeds into all of his players. It bleeds into his coaches. It does. Yeah. And so there is a major difference between confidence and cockiness. And so that's what we're talking about. As we move on and we don't quit and we take some losses, we move on and we do what we're talking about doing by moving on. It builds a sense of confidence in our lives.
And look, losses will hurt your confidence. Wins will make you cocky. And that's a confident person says, win, lose, or draw, I've got a purpose, I've got a focus, and I'm going to stay the course. I always tell people, how do I know if I'm confident? I used to tell my son this. I used to tell my daughter this. How do I know if I'm confident or if I'm cocky? Because I'm good at something. The difference is when you're confident, people will follow you. When you're cocky, people will not follow you.
That's good.
When you're confident, you see a big picture about helping others win. When you're cocky, you only want yourself to win. When you're confident, you want everybody to be praised. When you're cocky, you only want the praise. So there's so many things that differ between a confidence and a cocky. Someone who's confident says, I can lose, but I don't want to lose. A cocky person says, I can't lose. Well, a confident person says, I can lose, but but I don't want to. I'm not going to. A cocky person says, I can't lose. Well, the problem with that is, again, we're all going to lose. So I think the difference between a confident and a cocky person is who's following you. Nobody's following cocky, nobody's confidence. I think it comes down to truly just self-evaluation of what are you doing what you're doing? A confident person is doing it for the right reasons. And it's not that they can't lose. They just feel like they have an opportunity to win at whatever they're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. People love to follow confidence, and champions are confident, and they're borderline cocky, but they're not cocky.
Well, I think when someone's cocky, it truly is a huge sign of insecurity. It really is, and that's people.
It can be.
People
Sure can
usually mask insecurity with just being overly cocky, and I think that's what we're trying to say is, man, there's not you're secure in who you are and what God or whatever has called you to be, and you're confident in that. And I think that's the difference here is when you're cocky, it's all about you. When you're, like you said, when you're confident, you're about others and the organization and the other people more than yourself. And I think that this idea of not quitting, doing it the right way will produce a confidence. I remember having a conversation with my dad, and my mom and dad got married very, very young and had babies very, very young. And I had a conversation with him, and I looked at him just straight up one day, and I said, well, Dad, how did y'all make it? I mean, y'all are 18, 19. How did y'all make it? 2 kids and barely hanging on, I think eating bologna sandwiches. And I asked him this question, and he goes, and I said, how did y'all make it not get divorced? And obviously he gave me a couple of other reasons, but one thing he said to me, and I've always never forgotten this, is he said, well, son, that was never an option. And I said, divorce was never an option? He goes, no, absolutely not. It wasn't even a discussion. Even as hard as it got, it was never an option. And that wasn't him being cocky. That was him being confident.
Just confident. That's a great word.
And I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? That's the kind of attitude that a champion has. Is no matter how hard it gets, this is who I am. There's some conviction in that confidence, and I love that. And I think that's something.
That's the perfect example of confidence versus cockiness. Cockiness is, we could, but I'm not, it's this me.
Yeah.
Where confidence says, no, we have a conviction about this that we're not going to. Kevin, the bottom line is, and I want to remind our folks, thank you again for tuning in with us. And I'm not anybody from anywhere. Kevin's not anybody from anywhere. Man, we just hope we're encouraging you and challenging you to do. And I guess what I want to just plead with you is, as I put together this Traits of a Champion a long time ago and came up with these 5 traits, at the end of the day, I really did rest, and I really was passionate about looking at all kinds of people in all fields. I mean, the best of the best in every field. And I'd found out that, wow, man, those people had a lot of losses. There was people who lost in such big ways, but they determined that they weren't going to quit. Sam Walton, who's the founder and the man of Walmart. We all know Walmart. Literally, the world knows Walmart. He lost his first store in Newport, Arkansas. It was a Ben Franklin store, and he lost it because of a contract. He overlooked something in the contract, and basically the landlord actually took the store from him because of something that Sam Walton failed to look at in the contract. He drove back after he had built one of the most successful Ben Franklins in the country. He drove back to Northwest Arkansas, told his wife how that was such a critical, brutal blow, but he wasn't going to quit. And he said, and he determined then that he was going to go on and build the most successful discount stores in the world, even though he had just come off his biggest loss. I think about Billy Graham, and those of you who don't know Billy Graham is the greatest preacher of our lifetime, of this era. Presidents, kings, queens, everybody called on this man. He would preach to millions of people on television. Unbelievable man. Time Life named him Man of the Year just over and over. It was like 10, 20 years running. It was crazy. When he preached his first sermon, Kevin, he had 4 sermons prepared. He's a young man, been called to ministry. Remember, he's going to preach for the rest of his life as a profession. And he had 4 sermons. They were each 40 minutes long that he had prepared and memorized. When he finally got called upon to preach, he got up and he preached his first sermon. And he had gone so short, this 40-minute sermon, that he panicked and he preached his second sermon. And he panicked again and preached his third sermon. He panicked again and preached his fourth 40-minute sermon, and he looked at the clock and only 8 minutes had passed. This is Billy Graham. He wrote in his journal, listen to this, no one has ever failed more shamefully. He used the word ignominiously, but it's shamefully, than I have. But I'm not going to quit.
That's right.
He went on to be one of the greatest preacher communicators the world has ever seen, because he didn't quit. You talk about a champion that had focus, had a can-do attitude, worked hard, understood influence, but at the end of the day, he didn't quit. And I guess what I would remind our folks is, if you're not failing or losing, then you're not trying. And if a person never loses, then I would say they're not really trying to win championships. And I know that's in your face, and I know that's for those of you watching us on whatever you're watching us on platform, I'm pointing at you right now. But if you're just listening to us, man, I'm pointing at you too. If you never take a loss, it's because you're not going for championships. Go for the championships, accept the losses, and move on from them and learn from them, but move on and be the champion. And more than anything, don't quit.
Yeah.
DQ. Most people say it disqualify. I say DQ says for a champion, don't quit.
That's right, man. And Winston Churchill said one time, never give in. And I think that's something that is so good, is we don't quit. And I'll just plead with you is what we're also trying to say here is quit settling for average, man. Be a champion doesn't quit. They always keep moving forward. But in your marriage and in your relationships, in your friendships, for crying out loud, don't just be an average friend. Be an above average friend. Be a champion.
Go for
friend.
the win.
Don't quit on your friends, man. And always be the friend. A true friend is someone that when everybody else walks out of the room, you're the one walking in the room. And they never quit on the people that they love. And even when they quit on them, you never quit on a friend. And I say all that to say, champions don't ever quit. And they don't quit on people. They don't quit on their jobs. They don't quit on their relationships or their marriages. And that's really what we're trying to say here as well. And also just quit settling for average. This world, man, just sells average is good, and that's the best thing you can do. What we're saying is, man, the true winning, we got one shot at life. I mean, when you think about it, like, we got one shot at this. We got one shot at everything that we get to do here in every year that we live on this earth. And I don't want to just have it average. I want to have it the best. When I lay my head down and I take my last breath on this earth, I want to be able to say, man, I gave it my all.
Yeah. And I would just, if we could get real heavy and just really, really heavy for a second, I don't know who listens. We don't know who all tunes in. But I would say, if you're thinking about quitting on your marriage, don't. Watch the game film and figure out what you can do better. Get some help, but don't quit. God forbid if somebody's tuning in that maybe is thinking about quitting in life and maybe taking their own life, and that's a dark, really, really place to be. And I hope you're not there. But if you're struggling with that, if you hear nothing else we say, I beg of you, don't quit. Please don't quit. Reach out and get some help. You can overcome this loss. You can overcome the losses you've had in your life, and you can become the winner that I believe that God wants you to be. And I would just beg with you, not only even in that depth, but in all areas of your life, please don't quit, because it's easy to quit and it's harder to not quit, but boy, it's more rewarding to not quit. And you can win. You can turn this thing around and get some wins, and champions do that. Champions turn around and get some wins.
And I'll just add just a little bit to that, man. Just is you can go through this whole life and take some losses, and life is hard, and life can be very, very hard, but it's exceptionally hard when you do it alone. And we're just two preachers that happened to fall in love with Jesus Christ a long time ago. Yeah. And I would tell you that, man, if you feel like you're losing a lot in life, I tell you that is the number one place that you can start winning, because when you see a God who loves you, who died on the cross for you, for your sins, and won the ultimate victory to give you victory, even when you take losses, you can rest in his victory for what he did on the cross, the greatest victory of all time. I mean, that's the true championship right there, is having a relationship with Jesus. And that's what we found worked for us, and what we find works for so many people. So, man, I'd plead with you.
That's a great point. I guarantee you, Kevin, anybody that feels like you can't get out of the losing mode, and you want to quit, don't. And Jesus is your answer.
That's right.
And if you hear nothing else we say, that's what you need to hear. Turn to Jesus. Give him a shot. Just talk to him. I promise you, he wants a relationship with you.
That's exactly right. And one other way, as we transition to these two preachers just talking about something.
Okay, here we go.
In about 2 weeks, 2 weeks exactly. Well, 2.5 weeks, we are celebrating Thanksgiving. And one of the ways that I think, just kind of going along with what we're talking about, is this is a great time of the year to just sit back and think about all you can be thankful for. I mean, we got a lot to be thankful for.
I think so. I think being thankful is an intentional thing. It's natural in some ways, but it's also in some ways something we just have to put some intentionality towards. That, you know what, I'm just going to name my blessings. I'm going to count them. I am thankful for my family, but then I'm going to sit down and say, why am I thankful for my family? Well, because they're amazing. They're everything in my life. I love them so much. Why am I thankful for my Lord? Well, he lived, he died, he got up from the grave for me. But not only that, he lives with me every day. I'm thankful for my church. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for Oklahoma's playing well right now.
They are.
I'm thankful for all kinds of things. Being thankful, I think, is a choice, and I love that we have a holiday where we celebrate being thankful, because I think it's a mindset. I think you can set your mind. And one of the ways that a lot of times people get in ruts of, they get down, get depressed, and all kinds of things. I've known a lot of people who battled depression in my life, and I'm not saying that it's not difficult, because it is. But I know a lot of people who struggle with depression or have struggled with depression. I'm telling you, one of the great things you can do is to get up and just start naming and being all the things you're thankful for.
There's no doubt. There's a sure fix for a lot of the things that we struggle with in life. We're just thankful, man. I'm thankful for pumpkin pie, man. That's what I'm ready to do. I'm ready to dive into some pumpkin pie and some broccoli casserole.
So you take pumpkin over pecan?
I'm just not a big fan of the pecan thing. I'm sorry, and I know that's a struggle, but partly because I know that my mother-in-law is listening to this and hoping that she'll make her chocolate pie. That's why I threw that out there.
Well, the good thing about Thanksgiving is people say pumpkin or chocolate or apple or pecan. And the good thing about Thanksgiving, the answer is yes.
Yes.
I can have it all. Because isn't that Thanksgiving?
Throw a banana pudding in there.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on.
Banana pudding's always appropriate.
Always.
Yeah.
Hot banana pudding or cold banana pudding?
Yes. No, you know what? And I'll give you a shout out for this. I've always eaten my banana pudding cold. Then I met you. Mm-hmm. And I had other people do it, but you were the one insisted upon it. I'm like, all right,
it's a game changer.
It's pretty doggone hot. It's pretty good when it's warm. That's for sure.
I'm telling you,
it is pretty good. And I love everything about Thanksgiving, and I love the food. I love the family, the football. Hey, you see what I did? I'm a preacher. I just gave you all this. And I just love just being with family and friends, and we always have different folks over to join us, and it's always fun to invite people and just to see. And I'm just going to say, for the record, not because I need the win, but because it's true, my wife can flat out cook. I mean, let's just be real. That's why I'm the size that I am, is because my wife can flat out cook. And I'm thankful for that, man. I'm just thankful. What I love about Thanksgiving that brings in Christmas is I love the way people just have a smile on their face. I joke all the time. We have a road here in our community that is just ridiculously busy. You have it. If you're in my hometown, Midwest City, it's Air Depot. If you're up in Edmond, it's 2nd Street or wherever. Wherever. If you're in Baton Rouge, Houston, oh my soul. But it's a funny how you try to get around in traffic, and you'll look at somebody like, hey, would you let me in? And they won't even look at you. It's like, they're like, no, it's and they're inching up, and you're like, please, and they just look at me, and they won't even look at you. But when it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, once the season gets here,
come on out.
They're smiling like, come in here, get in here. And you're like, thank you, thank you. And it's so sweet. I love that. I wish we could be like that year round.
I know. People are just happier.
It's fun. Yeah, they're just happier and better. And I'm thankful for that. And then, of course, that's ultimately, like you said, we're thankful as a nation that we live in the greatest country in the world. And let me just be controversial. I don't care if it's controversial or not, but it is not bad thing to say we love America and it's the greatest nation in the world.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that, and it is. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the freedoms. I'm thankful for the men and women who've given us those freedoms and served in those things. I'm thankful for a lot of things. Most of all, I'm thankful for a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And,
That's right.
And we're unapologetically, we've told you, we're not going to get on here and cram religion down your throat and different things as some of you are afraid of or don't want. And hey, that's cool. We're not going to do that. But we're also not going to apologize for who we are. Mm-hmm. We try to be as authentic and real as we can. And Jesus is the biggest and most thing that I'm thankful for in my life, because he radically changed my life, my marriage, my parenting, my job, my career, my friendship. He changed everything for me, and that's what I'm most thankful for.
That's right. So much to be thankful for this time of year. And man, I as you, John, just mentioned a moment ago, write those things down, list them out, not just what you're thankful for, but why you're thankful for it. It's a great time of the year to be thankful, man. And so thank you so much for tuning in to the Traits podcast.
Yeah, we're thankful for y'all tuning in.
Absolutely. So continue to like and share us on all your platforms, and share it with your businesses, share it with your family. We'd love for you to get this resource out to as many people as possible. Thanks so much, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Traits of a Champion podcast, helping you pursue the wins in life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit subscribe. You can also follow along with us on Facebook, Instagram, or watch our episodes on YouTube.